My favorite place on Cape Cod, where I live, is Nauset Beach in our town of Orleans. Recently I was walking on the beach, watching the seagulls skimming the greenish-blue Atlantic surf as it crashed in on the shore, and thinking about writing this foreword to the new edition of A Man Called Peter. And then I suddenly remembered that my father, Dr. Peter Marshall, knew this spot well, and realized I had found another bond that ties us together. Dad loved the sea, and he especially loved Cape Cod, surrounded as it is by salt water with its fogs that reminded him of his native Scotland. When I was a small boy, he was the senior pastor of New York Avenue Presbyterian Church in Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised. He and Mom bought our Cape Cod cottage, Waverly, in the town of West Harwich in 1943, and thereafter the three of us would spend Dad's summer vacation weeks away from the church on Cape Cod. Sometimes he would drive over to Nauset Beach at sunset to surfcast for striped bass. Though I don't share his passion for fishing, I have certainly inherited his love for the sea. My father died at the age of 46, when I was just 9 years old, and I sorely missed not having him to teach me things, how to play baseball, the history of the Scottish regiments, and much more. Yet, in spite of my sorrow in growing up without my father, I know beyond a doubt that God used my loss to motivate me in my own ministry. In the years I have spent researching American history, I have found that famous fathers were often strong motivators for their sons. Would John Quincy Adams have been as great a statesman without John Adams and Abigail showing him the way? I have long prayed that the old saying about the acorn falling close to the tree will also prove to be true in my case. My father's legacy has been a tough one to live up to, yet as I approach 60, having been in the ministry for over 30 years, I have lately had a definite sense of picking up where he left off. I'm absolutely certain that were Dad still alive and in the ministry today, we would both be preaching the same things, calling America back to God. It seems hard to believe that half a century has passed since that cold January morning when Dad went home to be with the Master whom he helped so many people meet. What incredible changes the world has seen in those intervening years. The Korean and Vietnam conflicts, rock and roll and the sexual revolution, the dawning of the computer age, the first human steps on the moon, the collapse of Soviet communism and the end of the Cold War. So much has changed, one might wonder why a new edition of A Man Called Peter should be published. Will people today be interested in reading about the life and ministry of a preacher who has been dead for 50 years? But some things never change. The deepest issues of life are the same for us as they were for our parents and grandparents before us. We have the same types of fears and anxieties, hopes and dreams as they did. We, too, worry about how our children will turn out, about whether there will be enough money to pay the bills, how to properly take care of our aging parents. My father was uniquely gifted by God to preach to people's hearts about those issues. With near-perfect diction and a Churchillian mastery of the English language, Dad nonetheless communicated in such a down-to-earth way that even first-time visitors in the pews felt that he knew them personally and understood their problems.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.